What's going on, guys? Alex some new tech. How you doing? If you follow my channel for a while now, you will know that I am a huge Sony fan. I am an Xperia homer. But even with that said, I do want to note that I try to be as subjective as possible. So that's what this channel is all about. It's finding new products and talking about those products with other people. So some of you guys might have never used Xperia phones, and as an Xperia lover, I will definitely try to introduce to you those products. But I have been pretty critical about Sony's direction lately, with the whole killing of the Z line, bringing in the X line, and then all of a sudden having an XZ product, and of course the compacts not getting the flagship specs. They're going the wrong way for me. But does this phone live up to the Xperia legacy, I guess you could say, the legacy of the Xperia phones? We have the XA here. This is our full review of that product. Let's check it out right now. The Xperia XA comes packed with a MediaTek Helio P10 processor alongside 2GB of RAM and is the lowest spec sibling in the 2016 X lineup for Sony. However, even though this is bottom of the barrel, you do get all of the Xperia goodies, including micro SD card support, and that's somewhat stock but not really Sony's skin on top of Android Marshmallow. If you've used Sony Xperias in the recent past, this makes you feel right at home. The software is still loaded with Sony bloatware and icons, which some love and some hate. But the important thing to get out of this is that even at its lowest price point, Sony is consistent with their user experience, unlike some other OEMs, which software changes by the price point. Performance is not particularly good. The P10 and 2GB of RAM don't provide ample power to get smooth interaction with apps. You will see the phone stutter while browsing, and multitasking between apps can feel archaic at times. If you've used a phone with more power in recent memory, you will grow a bit frustrated with the XA as it clunks its way through tasks that run smoothly on competitors around the same price point. One big area that is extremely disappointing is the 2300 mAh battery. Sony to me was the king of battery with great phones like the Z3 Compact, but this XA doesn't even get you average life. I had to push my luck just to squeeze 2 hours and 45 minutes out using this conservatively. Don't let the 7% from Pokemon Go fool you. When this screenshot was taken last month, we didn't even play the game for 10 minutes. Not good numbers at all. Let's break the mode and talk about something good. Design language has always been a hit for me with Xperia phones. The candy bar shape still resonates with me as a very business professional, and I've gotten a lot of curious inquiries when using this device in meetings. Factor in the very thin side bezels and you have a pretty sleek looker for a low-end phone. The plastic feels pretty comfortable in your hand, but there is a massive risk dropping the XA due to its smooth texture around the phone. Moving on to the display, we have one glaring problem, pun intended. This whole phone is very glossy and you really have to view the phone head on in order to see anything at all. Entertainment on this phone is just barely acceptable in my opinion. The bottom firing single speaker is weak and muffly, and that, when contributed with the fingerprint magnet of a display, makes for an unpleasant viewing experience. At 5 inches, the XA resolution specs out at 720p for 299 pixels per inch. The IPS panel just doesn't seem sharp and clear to me. Even after messing with some of the settings, these colors, they just don't pop as much as previous Sony phones I've used. Granted, those were all higher priced, but even then, at this price point, I prefer the 1080p display on the Moto G4 over this one. Also, be prepared to do this. A lot. Seriously, a lot more than any other phone I've used. And finally, the camera. The Pro definitely is the retaining of the long-standing Sony camera shutter button. I love that button. The cons? Everything else. With a 13 megapixel back sensor that reaches f2.0 aperture, you'd think we'd be getting better photos than we've gotten. But this is a continued trend with Sony since the Z5 series, and disappointing you with the camera software. There is nothing good I can really say about the quality of the photos. Nothing seems sharp at all. Low light I can kinda understand, as we rarely get good performance in this price point. But with everything else, I was disappointed with the lack of detail and sharpness. They're giving us the same camera software experience as previous Xperias, but the results are getting worse in each generation of phones when it should be improving. Although I am a sucker for Sony designed phones, I really do like the candy bar shape, and I think for a mid to low end range phone, this is a very good looking phone. But bad battery, bad display, and bad camera. That's like the holy trinity of bad. You cannot come back from that. This is just a horrendous experience, not a good phone at all. And then when you factor in the price point here, you can do so much better. Look, to be honest, all the blue phones I've used in 2016 are much better than this phone here. The XR, the R1 HD, they're much better phones than, I have much better experience using those than this. And then, of course, the Moto G-Force, it's just a no-brainer, guys. If you're looking for a budget device, a mid to low-end phone, there's so many more options out there compared to this. And, you know, just for a little bit more, you can get a OnePlus 3 or Axon 7. There really is no market for this phone right now for the XA. There's no market at all for this phone. And that pains me to say because I used to try to get people to buy Sony phones because I thought they made the best phones in the world. But once again, my name is Alex from Xperia Tech. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of Sony right now. Am I just being too hard on Sony because I was a hardcore Sony fan? Or do you think Sony is just going the wrong direction right now? So definitely let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video.